That just means make it so it's timeless. Hello and welcome. My name is Carolyn Howell. I'm the president and CEO of Events USA and the executive producer of our TV network in the DMV, particularly Caribbean Food Network, or CFN today. And I'm here, if you will, popping up in Washington, D.C. with Donna Henry at a place that you are going to love. The name of it is Soup Up. Welcome, Donna Henry.
Thank you so much for having me, Carolyn.
I'm so excited to be here. First of all, I love soup. Soup is universally loved, and it is always a part of any great meal. That's why people say things like, they did everything from soup to nuts. So we're going to tell you where to get some of the best soup in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. But first of all, I want to ask you this. Why soup? Tell me a little bit of the history of Soup Up.
Wow, soup has been around for years. Forever. It has been around 200,000 BC. I don't know. Soup has been around for a very, very long time. It does have a history. And in fact, I believe in Paris, they used to have, with bread and water, and they used to call it sop in soup.
Wow.
Sop, S-U-P. And so it has a history. The whole idea of when roasting meat on outdoors and adding water to it and vegetables, and so it has a history, and it just has not been appreciated.
Wow. Well, I'm telling you, you're giving us all an opportunity to appreciate soup. Now, I will tell you, I am a soup lover, have always been, and I think most people are. But it's interesting, you recognize, being in this business for the amount of time that you have, that sometimes people view soup in two ways. Do you remember, you shared with me that people think of it as something that is...
Yeah. In the United States, I think, people look at soup as either situational or seasonal.
Situational or seasonal.
Yeah. Meaning, my situation is I am not feeling well, I'm sick. Or the seasonal aspect of it is that it is too hot outside for me to enjoy a bowl of soup. Which really, and if you think about it, if you stand back and think about it, it really doesn't make much sense.
No, it doesn't. But we have sort of pigeonholed soup into a place that we needed to break out of, and I think you're helping people do that. Soup Up is located in Northwest Washington, D.C. They have a wonderful brick and mortar location, and I had the opportunity to experience it for the very first time about a month ago. And I will tell you, how people always use the term, it's life-changing. And, okay, life-changing, what does that really mean? Well, it changes the way you do things. Well, let me tell you what this did for me. After I tasted your soup, I thought, well, two things. Maybe I don't need to make soup anymore myself because it's not as good, and maybe I just need to get more soup more often. And that's exactly what I've started to do. So I realized that you have a clientele. When we were in there that day, it's almost a community around soup.
Yes.
Folks were showing up, and one of the women that I met that day said to me, I said, well, which soup do you like? She's like, I don't know. I just Googled best soup in town, and this location came up.
Yes, we have been voted by a couple of magazines as the best soup spot in the DMV for 2-3 years.
Oh, wow.
In a row. So, people are beginning to appreciate the power of soup.
Wow.
And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. It was a little bit scary at first, starting this business as just a solo product. Many people were saying, well, people don't know much about the gazpacho. People, and not everyone is a soup eater. My thing was, well, not everyone is a coffee drinker.
Right.
Starbucks is pretty popular out there.
With a single item.
Yes. So I wanted to explore that opportunity, and thankfully, God is good. It has been good because you come in with just, at least the way we approach soup, we come in with so many different cultures and so many different ways of making soups and ingredients. You know, we borrow from the Asian, we borrow from the Mediterranean, we borrow from the Caribbean. Jamaican, Cuban, so we borrow from those two
I love
aspects,
that.
and then we just put it all together.
I think that's fantastic. You know, I made a statement earlier because you typically, if you get the newsletter, which I got early this morning, that let me know what the soups were for the week, you look on the list and you're like, okay, well, okay, that one sounds good. Okay, that one sounds good. I'm like, I don't know about that one. Invariably, when I come here and I taste a soup, it doesn't matter if it's the soup I came for. It's now a new love for me. And I said to you that your soups are so complex. And your response was,
What does that mean?
what does that mean? And I will tell you, so if you've ever had broth, and sometimes we gotta have a test or something, or a throat hurts, and we have to have broth. Broth is maybe one note. There's a saltiness to it. It's clear, it's not. But when I eat this soup, when I'm talking about the complexity, I am tasting flavors. Some spices and seasonings I cannot identify. I'm looking at the broth, and the broth is rich. That's in the soup, whether it's a brown broth or it's clear, or you've got the green machine today, or the lasagna soup. So I'm eating all these things, and I'm thinking to myself, this is absolutely delicious, but I'm tasting a host of flavors. So when I say complex, I mean, I can't tell you, maybe 7 or 8 things, and you could probably roll out what that spice blend is. I don't know what it is, but that's what makes it. It is a meal in a mug. It is a meal in a bowl.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, just need a salad and a glass of wine and my dinner is done. And then I thought, look at this. Is this cool? So soup up, she recognizes that you're gonna need to take soup places. You're gonna wanna take soup places. You just want your soup with you. You know, you're going someplace, you're gonna be at a meeting. Why wait for the microwave? They sell these great gifts. This is a beautiful insulated thermos. And then in case you forgot how fantastic the product is, on the back it tells you it is wholesome, it is satisfying, it is delicious, it is Soup Up. So I'm telling you, I am absolutely in love with everything about it. But I do have to ask you, the pandemic wasn't kind to any businesses, and restaurants suffered horribly. How did you manage?
The community. Soup lovers, people basically wrap their arms around us and say, we are not going to allow you to fail. And so we had that base. And fortunately for us, we were not like the really top high-end soup companies or well, there isn't really any high-end, I mean, soup companies out there, I don't think. But we were not like those big restaurants that were, you know, up there. The struggle for us was not as bad. And when we fell, it was not as painful.
Okay, because they have a lot of infrastructure. They have huge buildings and tons of staff and lots of things to keep up. So because you are
A smaller.
and we're in her shop, during a day where they just opened up, so business are just starting. It's hard to find this place when it's not busy. So I am so glad we were able to squeak in here at a time where we get a little bit of a reprieve before people come in and bum rush you, as we like to say. So you did have a struggle, but you said your community, it's interesting, you said they put your arms around me, because when I eat around you, when I eat the soup, I feel like you're putting your arms around me because of everything that goes into it.
Yeah.
Now, we're gonna come back, and when we do, we're gonna get to taste some of the soups and learn a little bit more about what makes Soup Up such a dynamic business in Washington, D.C., and why this is a destination